You are not your mind. This is my PSA for today because this has been very present for me recently. So, I wanted to come on here and talk about how our mind, if you believe that you are your mind and you invest it with a sense of self, it really can create so much unnecessary suffering for yourself. So our minds are wired for survival, right? That's what it wants is survival. And in that, that means that it doesn't like the unknown. It's very uncomfortable with the unknown. It wants familiarity because unknown means a threat. And it's also just very wired towards negativity. The outside world is very rarely what we want it to be. Right? We have all these preferences inside and we want things to be as they always are. The mind doesn't want change. And so when things don't live up to that change on the outside, the mind is going to put up a lot of resistance, a lot of negativity. And what that does again is it just creates this suffering, right? That we're arguing with reality, like, oh, this shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't have to do that. That person should act differently. And we want everything to conform to our own preferences. And that's just not the way reality works. So let me just give you a little example of something that happened for me over the weekend. I was in a different city and I wanted to go to a yoga class and new studio, new teacher, knew nothing about it. Here in Denver, I go to yoga all the time and I'm very used to the teachers and the flow and the classes. And this was just very different than most of the classes that I took. And the whole time, my mind was in so much resistance, judging the teacher, judging the music, like just throwing a fit about it all. Now, luckily, I am really present about a lot of this stuff and really mindful. And so I was just basically laughing at my mind as it was doing this. And instead of trying to shut it off, because that's never going to work, right? What we resist persists. So if you try to shut down your thoughts, that's not going to work. So I was just like, have at it, go do what you wanted to do, and just was like allowing my mind to run away with that. And then I kept just grounding back into the present moment, and I would tell myself I am comfortable with the unknown and I am safe. And just doing those two things, with which was not resisting what the mind was doing at the time, just becoming aware of it, and then telling myself that I'm comfortable with the unknown and I am safe, really subsided that. And I was able to just be in more flow during the class. So that was a beautiful thing. So I want you to, as we come into the holidays and you might be traveling, you might be around family, you might get triggered a bunch, just notice how much your mind starts resisting reality and starts coming up with all these stories as to why this shouldn't be happening, and things are inconvenient for it. And just see if you can notice that, because becoming aware and becoming the witness to the mind is always the first step to be able to change. And it also then creates this ground for you to have a more peaceful mind, because you're not investing your thoughts with a sense of self, right? At the end of the day, we are not our mind, we are not our body. We are so much bigger than any of that. We are really just the awareness that's witnessing the mind. So take that step back and just be the witness to the mind. Okay. And then you can even go deeper and start thinking about, well, why is the mind resisting this? I mean, that's something that I do, right? I really recognize that in that yoga class. I pride myself on being a good yogi. I've been doing yoga for, I don't know, 15 years, something like that. And so being in a class where I feel like I'm not good, and it makes me, a part of me, like insecure, right? And so that defense is that I become really judgmental. So I just know that about myself, and I've noticed that about myself. And so then I can kind of have more compassion for myself. And I can, again, tell myself it's okay to be a beginner. It's okay to be in the unknown. And as you tell yourself that, those patterns and that habitual way of thinking really does start to subside. So be really present as we come into the holidays. That way, when you are present, you can engage more fully with life and really what's happening around you. When you can get out of your mind, when you are not investing a sense of self with those thoughts. and then just be able to enjoy what is happening instead of arguing against reality. When we argue with reality, we lose and we create suffering for ourselves 100% of the time. So I want to wish everybody a really happy holiday. I am really excited about some things I have coming up in January. I have a talk for the CFA Society on January 10th. It's going to be virtual. I'll be posting information about how to sign up for that. I'm doing another webinar the week after that on a totally different topic about the mind and how to create more freedom and peace. And then at the end of January, I am launching my new program, which I'm so excited about. So if you want to be kept in the loop about any of that stuff, send me a message and I will add you to my email list, or just look out for the post here. Hope everybody has a happy, healthy, and peaceful holiday season.